On tonight's huge episode of Dark, the Dark Order are in action. So is Joey Janela and Frankie Kazarian as they go head to head. JR sits down with Ethan Page. Also the Bastard Pack up against Jungle Boy. Kris Statlander in action, and also the Wild Things team up. So this big episode of AEW Dark here on TEW 2020, episode number 30, kicks off with Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order up against Top Flight. And in about that had, unfortunately, terrible wrestling and a non-existent crowd heat. Reynolds and Silver do go over after 7 minutes 53, Silver pinning Darius after an enziguri. I mean, imagine that. We just get a 27 for this match as we roll into our next segment. Charles Betts, the number one contender for the AEW Dark Championship, is seen walking backstage when he bumps into Taz, who seems happy to see him. Taz talks about how impressed he was by Betts' debut in that Battle Royale the other week, constantly blowing smoke up his ass, and he offers Betts his Team Taz business card, which he gladly accepts. Taz tells him he's always open for business. Taz walks off as Betts seems thoughtful and kind of happy as we get 56 for this segment. So Taz looking to sign up some more talent to his team. We already know he's got Sammy Guevara in his midst now, and Jeff Cobb, Brian Cage. What a team, and it looks like it's going to continue to grow. Up next, Frankie Kazarian of SCU takes on Joey Janela, and in a decent match, Frankie Kazarian does go over. He defeats Janela in 7 minutes 48 after a wave of the future. We get 51 here. That's a strong rating for these two stepping into the ring with one another. I was expecting a better rate. We've seen a better rating from Joey Janela as he only gets a 53 here. Well, after the match, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels stand in the ring. Kazarian calls Scorpio Sky out. We saw Sky turn on Kazarian and Daniels just before Double or Nothing. He demands Sky act on his promise of finishing these two old-timers that are still very much alive, very much in the game. Sky no-shows, and Daniels makes a dig that it's just like Sky's career, a no-show, a lame-ass, good-for-nothing career where all he ever achieved was being the third wheel in one of the greatest tag teams, SCU. It's a really good segment rating there of 66, and we're just building towards the story of Sky against his former teammates in Kazarian and Daniels. Up next then, we get the sit-down interview with JR and Ethan Page, who is set to take on Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship on Dynamite this week. JR is sat down, and Page is late. After a moment or two, he strolls in and greets JR, shaking his hands, all full of confidence, full of himself, all ego. And before JR can start to get the interview underway, to start asking any questions, Ethan Page begins to list off why he is here in AEW, why he is only going to enhance the roster, why he is going to beat Cody Rhodes this Wednesday for the TNT Championship. He will be the first person in AEW to debut in a title match and win the damn thing. He gets up, shakes JR's hands, and walks out with his PA discussing what's next on his agenda for the day. So all ego, we're just playing into that the moments we roll into our next match of the night. The Bastard Pack against Jungle Boy and his pack that goes over. Kind of had to, got to build up a bit of steam heading into that inevitable match against Kenny Omega at Fyter Fest in just a week or so. Pac is someone not to be trifled with at the moment. He is in a bad mood. Well, he always is, isn't he? But he was in a bad mood after the Elite attacked him just the other week at the end of Dynamite, and now he wants to get his hands on Kenny Omega, and he took his frustrations out on Jungle Boy here. Up next, the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor, Trent Barretta, Orange Cassidy, Kris Statlander and Warhorse are all together in their locker room. Warhorse still trying but failing to teach Orange how to headbang. Chuck Taylor and Trent are playing ping pong, and Kris Statlander seems fine with this as she prepares for her match tonight. So we are seriously going all in with this faction of the Best Friends. Chuck, Trent, Cassidy, Kris Statlander, Warhorse Where can we take them? Where can they go? The world is their oyster, and they seem pretty satisfied at the moment. And Statlander's match does finish with submission after 6 minutes 51 against Ashley Vox, who made her AEW debut here in this save. She got an in-ring performance of 24. We need to build Kris Statlander up. She's only at a 28 in-ring performance for this match, which is really disappointing to see. She has had higher ratings before, but we're going to be seeing a lot more of Statlander now that we're really pushing for this faction with the best friends. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, the Wild Things, are seen stood in Gorilla ready for their match, which is next. Mox is firing Eddie up, saying they're going to go out there, give no fucks, and win. Their music hits. It's Wild Things. Now, I have tweaked Moxley's gimmick here, and you only get one shot at it, and he does seem as though he's getting better at that gimmick. If it doesn't work, then we're just going to have to change it all together. We get 68 for this quick little segment as we move into our main event of the night then. The Wild Things in action against the Butcher and the Blade. And in a decent match, it is the Wild Things of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston that go over. They beat Butch and Blade in 10 minutes 16. Moxley pinning the Blade with a paradigm shift. I did want to give the pinfall to Eddie Kingston, as it seems as though Jon Moxley, the route we're going down at the moment, Jon Moxley kind of like a mentor towards Eddie Kingston, trying to get him out of this stoop that he's in, this bit of a rut that he finds himself in. Well, after the match, Moxley and Kingston celebrate like it means the world to them both. Well, it would to Kingston. And then Shinsuke Nakamura strolls out the top of the entranceway with an intrigued look on his face. He smirks, then leaves, as Mox and Kingston continue to celebrate as AEW Dark goes off the air. We get a 69 for this segment, and it seems as though Shinsuke still has unfinished business, still wants to get involved with Moxley and Kingston after he said not so long ago, see you around, like he was finished. Well, it doesn't seem as though their story is over just yet, as we get an overall rating of 59, one of our better ratings that we've had in recent times for an episode of Dark, and they're only going to get better now as we continue to expand our roster, and of course using some of our top stars here on Dark. Definitely going to see more of that. Anyway, that is it for Dark. I'll see you all soon for Dynamite.